Okay, hi everyone, it's Blee, and now we are going to talk about the database. I ended up talking about it way too much in the previous video I made, and I had to cut it short, but now we can spend this whole entire video talking about the database. So anyway, go to Tools and Database. Database is very important for laying the grounds for your character, very important for items, your chipsets. You use it for, well, when I said items, I mean your effects or whatever else you want to do. Any events that you need. Yeah, chipsets, setting footstep sounds, sorry about the decorating your title screen, your game over screen, any other things you need, your menu screen. It's kind of like the foundation for like your gameplay, for your gameplay. It's just like kind of the foundation of everything in your game. So first we're going to talk about the hero tab, which is the one it opens to. And normally a hero tab, hold on a sec. Okay, normally your hero tab will look like this. And what heroes are characters that you can have the player choose between, and they'll be able to walk around as them and do things as them. And they will also be included in, if you're going to have a party system, like IB uses a party system, you need to have heroes. Or no, wait, maybe IB doesn't have a party system. There's a lot of things you can do. So you could make a party system or not, but an RPG version, like RPGs, you need these characters in order to have like a party. But when you start up your game, you don't need any of these things. If you're just going to have one protagonist the whole entire time, just like Yume Nikki, you don't need any of this. So what you should do is first go to erase size and go to 0. Go ahead and agree with that, and then I'll leave you with this. Now, some people, I've opened up some fan games and I used to see they still had these settings, like battle animation, conditions, statistics, and all that stuff. And in Yume Nikki, that's not there. All you have to do to get rid of any of this extraneous stuff is just click on it and then press the delete key. And there you go. Everything's gone, everything's clean, and you can make your own thing. Battle sprites, I think battle sprites are in like animations 2 or something. But in the folders I told you to delete and everything, these guys won't be here. These little things won't be there, and you won't have to worry about that. So you delete it, and then you can go ahead and input everything. We're going to cut back to the looking glass. And on the screen, you can put in the name. Title doesn't matter. It will just display alongside your character's name in your menu. And you could use anything, like I'm making another game, and the protagonist is a Miko. So I just put her name as Miko. Or her title is Miko. So, like, yeah, you could put Irene, student, or something. It doesn't really matter. I don't know. I haven't really seen any other fan games use it, but you can use it, and it doesn't really matter. So all this stuff is deleted, so you don't have to worry about that. And you don't have to worry about class, any of that. None of this matters. Maybe the starting equipment might matter. I've seen LOL and Flow. For some reason, they included armor, helmets, accessories, and stuff. But maybe that's just like, I forget if he actually included it for events or if it's just there to kind of add on to Sabitsuki's character. But anyway, so character graphics is your face set, and sprite obviously is a sprite. And transparent or not, so they can turn into a ghost or not, but they stay that way the whole time unless you fix... Actually, I don't even know if you can fix it if it's predetermined as transparent. But anyway, that's your hero. Class doesn't matter. Skill, depending on what you want to do, you could use the skill tab for pinching out like Flow does, but you don't need it. Item, this is where you keep all of your effects, and it's a lot of stuff, but basically most people keep everything in here, including the instructions. So Irene's notebook is an item. It's your item screen. This is where you put all of your effects and your items and anything else that you want her to hold. Okay, so effects. It's really hard to describe effects in this amount of time, so I won't. But if you ever want to make your effects gray out, like when you're playing Yumeniki and you grab an effect and then you go back into real life and you look at your menu, you notice that all of the effects names are dull and grayed out and you can't activate them. To make an effect name dull, put parentheses around it. So yeah, that's just something to do. And we'll talk about all this stuff later because it's a lot of stuff. Monster does not matter. Okay. Monster groups don't matter. Attribute does not matter. Conditions don't matter. Animations, this is where you keep your animations for effect equipping, effect picking up. If you want to put blood, you don't need to have blood. It's just a thing that people, you don't need to have blood. Money, you don't need to have money and you don't need to have an animation for money. But, you know, all this stuff. There's the name, animation file, you choose the animation file. Target, this does not matter. Frames, you just set the amount of frames you need. This is just different frames and they keep track of the position of the frame. So as I go through it, you see that they change frames and they get bigger and bigger. Scope, doesn't matter. Y-axis line, center it. Make sure you center anything if it's focused on. Just center it. Use grid, makes it follow like a certain, you know how it's kind of stilted because it's going on a grid? If you don't use grid, you can just kind of like do whatever and you have to like actually be really specific about it. So I use the grid. Does not matter. Clone previous doesn't matter. Mass copy doesn't matter. I guess it doesn't matter. You could try, but I never used it. I just did everything by manually. Autocomplete doesn't matter. Mass modify doesn't really matter. This right here, this is important. So you double click it and it will open up extra effects. So it'll say which frame do you want and what sound effect will play when it hits that frame. So for this, it's the equipping effect. And then you can flash. What that means is that whatever the animation is playing on, it will like flash the whole entire object this color. So when it's target, it'll flash Irene pink while she equips her effect. If it's screen, it'll flash the whole entire screen pink. And you can change it with the sliders. Shake scope, I haven't used that. And I can't think of any time of, I can't think of ever seeing, I think it's just, I don't even know, but don't worry about shake scope. I don't think it's anything important. You could play with it and tell me what it does, but otherwise, no. Moving on, animations does not matter. Battle layout doesn't matter. Terrain does matter. First of all, you want to make sure that you have one single terrain where there's no sound, because you will need, you won't realize how obnoxious footsteps can be in some places. So make sure you have one set to no sound. And that means, like, name it no sound, make the sound effect off. Don't do any of that. Or, yes, do all of that, sorry. And then these ones, you just specify the name and specify which sound it is. So when she steps on those glowy things in the neon world, it makes this sound. And, you know, there's, like, footsteps in water and stuff. But what's really important is that, you know, in Yumeniki and bunches of other fan games, whenever your character steps in water, sometimes it looks like they're, like, in the water. Well, to do that, you go down here to sprite display. And normal means that your sprite is standing on top of it or whatever. If you choose obscure, it will make half of the water tile or the floor tile transparent, and it will look like your character's walking through it. So bottom third means like around her feet, bottom half means like obviously her half, and semi-transparent means the whole entire sprite is covered by the floor tile. So this is very important if you want water areas. I want to thank my dev friend Arendelle for telling me about this because it's really important and I didn't know about it. Anyway, tile set. It's a lot to explain, but basically, okay, let's do a tile set that's like, okay, so tile sets. Terrain, you click on the terrain, then you click on a thing, and it will change it to whatever this is. So the 2 is floor beep 1, then I click on here. Oh, whenever she steps on this particular tile, it will sound like floor beep 1. And let's see. So that's what you do to add footsteps to tiles. Passability. Passability is indicated by different things. So if the passability is a circle, that means she can step on it and she will step over it. If the passability is an X, that means that your character cannot walk on this. It will be impassable, which is very useful for walls. If it's a star, that means that whatever tile this is, it will be over. So not only can your character walk on the tile, but they will be underneath it. I don't really use overhead tiles on this layer, which is the lower layer. Because these, if you want something to be overhead, you need it, if you're in a building, if you have like a building like this, you don't want to have like a wall overhead, because then if she stands right here, or like here, no, let me choose a better. If this is overhead and Irene stands here, her head will be covered by this piece. So that's not right, and it can break up a lot of things, and it doesn't look very nice. So I don't use overheads for buildings and walls and things like that, unless I have it designed. A way to do that is using auto tiles. Hold on. This is an auto tile, and what happens is that it'll display, like, it could turn into a wall, it could be the lining of like a ceiling or something like that, like this. And what it does, let's go, and I think I already showed this, I'm not sure, but we'll go over it again just because. Let's see, real life. Okay, so let's zoom in here. So you notice how this tile, which is an overhead tile, this one, kind of like frames everything. That's what it is. It's kind of like a frame. Auto tiles are kind of like frames. And if you set the passability to a square, it will determine a special thing that comes with auto tiles. So right now, she can't walk, like right here, she can't walk past this auto tile because it considers like left and right a wall. Up and down and these two areas, she could walk underneath. Like when you're in, let me give an example. When Irene is walking through here, her head can be cut off, well, not cut off literally, but you know, her head can be cut off by these top and bottom tiles while she's walking. So what you want to do with auto tiles like that is put walls right here. So then when she's walking like this, she can't go up, but she can walk down here. So it gives the illusion of the room being three-dimensional. I don't like using auto tiles as much. I use it in these areas because it's kind of like the Yuma and Nikki staple thing to do, but I don't know. Auto tiles is you could also use auto tiles. So hold on. So when the passability is set like this, it displays it as like what I just explained to you. But if you set an auto tile to being walked on, and it's like, these are patches of dirt. So in the graveyard world, this is an auto tile, and she'll walk over it, and you can give it a special name. So like auto tiles are useful for things like dirt or splotches of something. I would do dirt. I wouldn't even try to use blood for this stuff. I mean, I did it for the mushroom world, but I plan on changing a lot of things. But yeah, this is what auto tiles can be for. Ceiling rafters and dirt. That's what you want to focus on. Anyway, finally done with that. Directional pass, I don't use it. It's really weird to use in the first place. If you want to make like invisible walls, like an invisible maze, you can use directional pass. But even then, if you want to make something invisible, just make one tile transparent and another transparent tile, and make this one passable and this one unpassable, and then you have your invisible wall. So directional pass, nobody really cares. Water tile animation, you can't see it here, but let's see. I still have the default water here. So when you have it 1, 2, 3, 2, it looks very slow. When you have it 1, 2, 3, it looks very fast. And then you can have it go like this to make it go even faster, or like this to make it go a little bit faster, but whatever. Water tiles are hard to draw. They're very hard to draw. Anyway, upper layer, this is where you want to put everything. This is where I have anything that overlaps. So I showed you what layers did, so this is where you put everything. Passability is about the same. It can still be walked on, not walked into, or walked underneath. And keep it to objects and things and decorations, most definitely. But that's about it. Oh, by the way, in order for you to use a tile set, you have to first make like an available space and go to your file and then make sure that your chipset folder has what you need and all that stuff. String is not important unless you're doing an RPG and you actually want these things to appear. They're like specific messages. You don't even have to have these. But anyway, if you want that and you want to do like level ups or skill learned thingies, you can do all these string things. But what's really important in string is page 5, which is level, HP. This is all self-explanatory pretty much as you look at it. Just name it whatever you want. Level, in Yumeniki, when you go on the menu and you pause and you look at Madotsuki's little profile thing, it shows E, and that is your amount of effects. What Kikiyama and a lot of fangame people do is make the character level up as you acquire effects. So it's like a counter, and it will show very easily right there. So that's what we use it for. You can label it E for effect, or A for abilities, or I for items, or whatever you want. Level just you can you can use level to indicate how many effects the player has at one time. Or if you don't want to do it, just leave it alone and don't have it there. That doesn't really matter. System is important. This is vehicle, and Aaron Dill told me that you don't have to have the vehicle thing. You can just choose a random set, like sprite set. But I don't know. It's just automatically assigned as vehicle. So I just leave it in. I don't really care. Do what you want. Title screen, obviously. Party. If you only want one character, you have to make sure you set it to none. And it'll automatically go to none if you delete all your heroes. So then there's the system BGM. All you need to worry about is the title screen, maybe the game over screen. And that's it. And then sound effects, obviously you want to focus on cursor, select choice, cancel, and buzzer. Those are the ones you want to focus on. Don't worry about these other things. So obviously the cursor sounds like the cursor when she clicks on something. Or no, when she moves and then going like this. Yeah, so that's what all that is. System graphic, you need to have a system graphic. You don't need to have a million, but you need to have at least one system graphic. These things, transitions don't really matter. It just sets the default transition. So if you just use an automatic teleport event, it will default to this type of teleport where the screen fades out. And you can change the default, but it doesn't matter. Because you'll probably want to change it to something you prefer when you're in there making the event yourself. Anyway, System 2, this is where you assign effects. Or this is where you assign the different things. So effects is what items would be, and notes is what skills would be. That's what I put for mine. And if you don't want them to have a way to save, just go none. And just leave effects. Frame doesn't matter, as I said. Battle graphics, we never need it, we never use it, but you have to have it. So make sure you keep these here. And then common event, which is the last part and the most difficult to explain. So I'm going to have a really hard time explaining all this stuff. But common event is an event that can be used and can be referenced, and you can use anywhere at any point in the game as long as you have it call. And when call means the character steps on an event, the character presses a button, the character does something where an event will come here, an event will reference your common events, and will activate them and everything. I save common events for, obviously her effects. You need to have your effects in the common event tab. I also use common events for effects doing things, like their abilities. So like right here is when the glow stick changes colors and everything. And this is the flashlight being turned on and off and everything like that. But you can also use common events to reference things. I also use the common event for Irene sitting. I use it for her pinching out, which is her mirror. Anyway, I use it for unequipping effects and re-equipping effects. Like for here, this is her Pokemon world, because I'm just really lazy and I don't want to have to paste all this information into every single teleport. So I just have teleports call these events, so I don't have to worry about copying and pasting all this stuff into each and every event window. For instance, right here is an event that is called, and this is basically the beginning to the event where Irene goes unconscious and she wakes up in the school. So this is all written here and everything. And then I move on and have players do whatever they want. But yeah, this is basically what common events are. Common events are for setting up, equipping effects, and then all of the effects' different abilities. Which is really hard to explain, but that's what it's for. And that's about it for this video. That's pretty much what database does and everything you need to know about it. So if you know this all already, awesome. Please wait for the next video. As I go in, it gets really difficult to explain things, but I'll try. So thanks for watching.